All right, Youngstown, we're back again with another episode of the Belly Left Leadership Podcast. I'm your Superintendent Jeremy Batchelor. Remember, this Belly Left Leadership Podcast is defined from a simple football play, that belly play, where we are running a simple play. Everybody knows their assignment. We're running off tackle. We practice it. We've repeated it, and we keep running it at a high level until they stop it. And so remember, though, it's a leadership mantra based off of that, but it's not really about football. Football is about life, and this leadership mantra is about life, and what we're doing here in Youngstown is improving life. What we're doing in the Youngstown City Schools is improving things for our scholars. So I'm happy to be here today. Today is a very special episode for me. First of all, I want to apologize for my voice already. I've been talking about Youngstown so much that I'm losing my voice. I'm not sick, but I couldn't let today pass without us having a special guest on today. And today I have one of my former students, one of my former scholars. When I was a principal at East High School, the very first year, the 2018-2019 school year, we had a very formidable football program that year. And the gentleman that I have here, Mr. Blaine Spires, was a part of that program. And we're going to talk more about what he's done then as well as after that. But that year, man, Youngstown, and as we come together as the defenders, remember at that time we were still a combined program with East and Cheney. And that year, other than a couple of bounces of the ball, we should have been going on and keep playing for the state championship, and we should have stayed together then. But that's a whole nother story. But Mr. Blaine Spires was a part of, to me, and I'm going to say this boldly, and I've never said this to him, that was the best collective defensive line this valley has ever seen. I probably made some people mad by just saying that, but I used to say that to Mr. Kearns on the sideline every week. The 4 or 5, because it was a 5-man rotation, we can't leave Markey out.
Nope.
Okay, we got to leave Markey Anderson there, Blaine Spires, Chris Fitzgerald, Terrence Yaboda, them dudes, and there was a couple other dudes that rotated in, but that 5 there, and DeJuan Martin, that 5 there was the best defensive line collectively this valley has ever seen. Now, there might have been some other guys that say, well, I was better individually, but as a unit, they were the best this valley's ever seen. So it gives me great pleasure. Blaine stopped by to see me last week. He was doing some other things. He's in town as he's finished up his college career playing, but he's also getting his master's degree. So to me, this is what it's all about when we say scholar athlete. So Blaine, welcome to the show. It's so good to see you, man. So let's talk to the people, man. Tell them about who you are.
Well, I'm Blaine Spires, like you said, Youngstown born and raised, grew up on the Youngstown north side. I'm somebody who Youngstown through and through. Grew up playing for the Northside Knights. Started off at Ursuline.
Okay.
Then eventually went to Valley Christian and ended up spending my last 2 years at Youngstown East, which ended up being the best thing that ended up happening for me. And yeah, I carry that with me with pride everywhere I go, every school I've been to. I'm happy to say that I'm somebody from Youngstown.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that. We talked about the season that we had that year, but what has happened afterwards. So you came to Youngstown, played on that team, got some opportunities, obviously, based on your talent on the field and in the classroom, because this guy took college classes while he was in high school, young people. I need you to understand that. So let's talk about what happened. You graduated from East, and you originally went where?
I originally went to Bowling Green. So how I started off, like you said, I came into East, and I kind of wanted to exhaust my resources. So I did end up picking up a couple of classes at Youngstown State just to get myself prepared, because I had the aspiration to go into college. It was a tunnel vision I had with it. So as the season went on, didn't have no offers. I'm in my senior year. I got a lot of D2 interest. And then one day, Bowling Green came in. Coach Carl Pelini, he came in, pulled a couple of us to the side, and then he ended up leaving. We didn't hear from him for a couple of weeks because they had a coaching change. So then he comes back a couple weeks later and says, the coach gave him the okay to go through with the offers with me and DeJuan.
Yep.
And then it was a no-brainer from there. It was my first Division I offer, so I didn't waste no time. I wanted to lock in my spot. And then we got up there the same weekend for our official visit. And then, the rest was history from there. Came back home. We had our signing day in February. So then all that time we were just preparing. Every day I'm working out 2 times a day, just trying to give myself the best advantage possible going in. So then I get to Bowling Green. And everything was good at first. I kind of had an issue with the credit. I think I was off half a credit. So I had to, they call it a gray shirt. So I couldn't play that freshman year. I kind of was down about it. Super down about it because, I wanted to play. This is my first time in,
Right.
16 straight years I've been playing in the football season, so now I can't play all of a sudden. So, that was hard for me. I remember calling back home, calling Coach Merrill, like, I want to go to YSU. I was kind of, homesick a little bit. A lot of people don't know this. I was like, super homesick, so I'm calling Coach Merrill. I'm like, please get me in the YSU. He was like, no, you need to stay there. And in my head, I'm just so stuck on it. I'm like, I don't want to hear that. Like, I want to leave. I want to come back home. And that ended up being the best thing that happened, though, was him not, going for me trying to come back this way. So I spent a couple years at Bowling Green. Can't really complain, they set the foundation for me. Started there as a defensive end. Was having a little bit of trouble with weight, so they figured I could probably play a little bit of Sam linebacker as well as DN, so I was playing both. So eventually that's kind of what, led me to, leaving because I like to be in the mix. I like to be in the trenches. That's just where I'm natural at and stuff like that. So when I was playing Sam linebacker, it was like, okay, this is cool. I can show versatility, but I need to be.
You like putting that hand on the ground, I remember.
My hand on the ground. I need to be rushing. I need to be in practice, developing my pass rush, not dropping in coverage during pass rush reps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So then eventually it got to a point with Bowling Green where I did feel like in my best interest that I may need to, leave. So I ended up making that decision for myself. Nothing bad against the staff. I had a lot of love for the staff and stuff like that, but it was just something I needed to do. So then that's when another hardship kind of hit. The schools that was coming in wasn't the schools I expected to come in, knowing, what I can do and the level I can play at. But then at the end of the portal process in 2023, Utah State came in. So when Utah State came in, it was like it's a no-brainer. But remember, I was homesick my first year. I was homesick.
Well, homesick, and then you're going to go all the way to Utah.
And I went all the way to Utah. But that was just a part of the plan, though.
Yeah.
Because over my first couple years at Bowling Green, I learned sometimes you really do got to be uncomfortable to bring out the best in yourself. So it was just a move. I was desperate. I was desperate to, win. So it was like, okay, I know if I go out to Utah, it's just going to be me. It's no distractions, no nothing, just a tunnel vision. I can't come out of here until I do what I needed to do. And that ended up being a very, pivotal situation in my career in which I seen a drastic turn, my production and my development and all of it. So once I got to Utah State, it also was, kind of hard because we was dealing with a class waiting on my class grade to come back so I can, get admitted into the school. So I missed summer workouts.
Okay.
Stuff like that. And then I go straight into camp without the summer workouts. I was doing a little bit on my own. Kind of don't compare it to what you're going to go into in camp.
Right.
Had another hardship. I had, what is it called? Rhabdomyolysis. It's another thing people really don't know about. I had rhabdomyolysis. I was in the hospital for 5 days. Getting my blood work done every day and stuff like that. And I didn't come back to practice until game week, which we was playing Iowa, a very good opponent. And it just from there, everything just took off. I just took it day by day, just trying to outwork everybody, trying to hone into my craft as much as possible. Had to get a little distant, but I had to do what I had to do to win. That was just the biggest thing.
So from a football standpoint, you balled out there because, I tell people all the time we had guys playing all across the country coming from out of Youngstown. So on Saturdays, my wife would get mad at me because we're trying to watch TV together. But I got the computer set up and I'm watching you on ESPN Plus on the app. I got Chris on another app. I got Jason and Clive on another app. Watching games just to make sure we keep up with our guys. I couldn't get to games, obviously, but at least try to support. But out in Utah, something else happened. You got that degree.
I definitely got my degree. I had ended up graduating with my communications degree, and there was something called a dual degree as well, so then it had a background in business too, which, that was just the main thing. I had to finish college with my degree.
Absolutely.
And it gave me an advantage, most definitely.
Yes, sir. So talk about that. Talk about the difference between high school and college. You already talked a little bit about it. You got there, Bowling Green, and we had that little credit issue or whatever. But talk to me about the work difference in terms of college versus high school.
The work difference as far as college and high school, for the most part, I think, me personally, I like the college work better. Because one, besides the first 2 years, you're going to have a couple classes that you have to do. But at the end of the day, it's stuff more leaning towards what I want to do.
What you want to do, absolutely.
Right. And then also, when it comes to college, it's like, okay, this day I might have 2 classes. This day I might have 3. It's not as, we
ain't making you come to school and sit there for 8 hours.
8 straight hours. That's
right.
what I'm saying. I tell people that all the time, like, college is low-key, like, I'm not going to say easier because you do have to get your work done. Professors do expect you to have it done by deadlines. But at the end of the day, you're not sitting in a building for hours straight. You know what I'm saying? So you could have a day, like I said, with 2 classes and you're done for the day. As long as you stay on top of all your assignments and stuff like that, it should roll smooth.
Absolutely.
And like I said, you becoming something that you want to be. You're practicing something that, that you have interest in.
I love it, man. I tell scholars all the time, just go. Let's get step foot on that campus is life changing. You know what I'm saying? Just the learning what the aspect of college and what it offers you, what you ultimately are going to get with that degree.
Right.
But then the college life, it's actually fun, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's actually fun.
That's another thing too. I tell my people all the time, I'm like, honestly, I know a lot of people that was against college, but honestly, you would love college.
Absolutely.
Because you're going to have a good time. You're going to meet a lot of different people from different places, which help you put things in perspective. You see how people think in other places where they come from, stuff like that. And like he said, it's fun. You got to learn how to balance the fun to get to a point where it can become too fun.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing with college. Like, you can go in, but everybody gonna work hard though. A lot of people that I came across, they still working hard, but at the end of the day, we work. So then we're gonna get to a point where, all right, it's time to unwind a little bit. Let's have a good time. And trust, it's a lot of good times in college for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Most definitely.
All right, I'm gonna transition a little bit, and football is a team sport. You know what I'm saying? You gotta do everybody's got to do their part. And, there's some individual accolades that come along with that, different things. But, generally, in order for the team to have success, we all got to do our part. So, and I always say that football in any sport should be about teaching you and having those lessons for the rest of your life. So give us an example maybe of during any time in your career, high school, college, even Little League, where you have had to learn about being the leader on a team. And how that's played out for you.
Well, so being the leader of the team, it comes with some sacrifices. You obviously got different expectations, but that's definitely like something you don't want to take for granted. Those are good shoes to fill. That tells a lot about you and your character. Being a leader, honestly, it helps you grow as a person as well. Because now it's certain things that you can't allow yourself to do. But then it's going to push your progress. It teaches you about sacrifice. And sacrifice is one of the biggest things, that you're going to come across with anything that you do. And that's kind of how football translates to real life, and that's how I view it. Football taught me so much about sacrificing and how it translates to life, how sometimes you got to put your head down and work, and it's nothing going to be instant. It's a process. We were talking before, everything is process-driven, so you can't expect nothing to happen for you overnight. But over time, if you're just getting better at little things over and over and over before you know it, you're going to look completely different. So even still, like with football, say, for example, if I pull up me pass rushing my freshman year to now, it'll look completely different. But at the time, it just felt like it was moving so slow.
Right,
and then before I knew it, boom, it all came together. So, yeah, that's one big thing about being a leader in football taught me is sacrificing. And then nothing's going nowhere, honestly, at the end of the day. Everything's still going to be there for you, and it's all worth it in the end, for sure.
I love it. All right, Blaine, you've done a lot, man, since you left us in 2019 at East High School. You've kind of been across the country. You played football at a high level and got a college degree and well on your way to a second one. And so, I know that last year, you talked about you went to Utah State, but after that, you still had some eligibility. You got a degree and you still have some eligibility. And the way the current landscape of college football is, I know people, have their own opinions about the transfer portal or whatever. Talk to us about the portal and that experience, first of all, and then I want to come back to something else. How does that really work, man?
Okay, the portal is risky. But I will say the portal definitely did me some justice. But like I said, at the end of the day, it is a very risky thing.
Okay.
Starting off, when you're going in the portal, you're going to have coaches that's trying to tell you, like, you shouldn't go in the portal. These coaches won't care about you the way we do. They're not going to make sure and guarantee your success. All they care about is football, so you got that first.
Yeah.
You got to be somebody that's headstrong, and you got to be ready to work when you go in the portal. So you can't play no games with it. For me, like I've seen it happen different ways for different people. You know, I've been in college for a while, so I've seen people go in the portal and then it don't work out. And for me, for example, it definitely did me a lot of justice. I needed change. So starting off, boom, you hit the portal. Like I said, the coaches, they're going to be a little bit against it. But then once you go in there, now these schools are coming at you. You got different schools trying to get you. And it's a little bit of kind of stuff that get off in the portal. It's a little bit of, things that go under the radar and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you got to know how to navigate. So like I was telling you about my first time transferring, unfortunately, like I didn't get the schools that I thought I was going to get.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to deal with that mentally too. Sometimes it ain't going to go your way. But you got to be willing to, make the most out of your situation. Luckily, I did end up getting one school that was at the caliber of competition that I wanted to play in, which was Utah State, which was, worked out fine. And then there's also other reasons for going in the portal. So my last year at Utah State had a season-ending injury, which gave me another year eligibility.
Right.
So now, at the same time, too, is a whole entire coaching staff change. So, like, for my same reason at Bowling Green, playing linebacker, the new coach wanted me to play
linebacker. Yeah, right. See, I didn't know that. I was like, I thought, I was like, okay, he gonna go transfer again. I didn't know why, but it wasn't for me to know. But now I do.
So that's really all it was for, because he wanted me to play stand-up linebacker, and like nothing against him. He's a great coach, but I already been there with that position before. I know where I'm more productive at. So I said, let's get this thing a try. I'm an older player. I kind of wanted to be intentional about it. My first thought process was going to a school in an area that I would like to move to.
Okay.
That was my first thought process about it. But then the University of Pittsburgh reached out to me. Now I can't turn this down. I go from being in Utah. My mom came to she came to a lot of games. She did as much as she could to come to the games. But family couldn't see me play that much.
Right.
So now it's University of Pittsburgh, Youngstown coach, head coach, as in Pat Narduzzi. I'm an hour away from home. My family could see me playing my final year. It kind of ended up being a no-brainer for me. Then on top of that, the defense. So then that's what kind of went into the portal thing too. I'm looking at defensive schemes and stuff like that. Who's going to give me the best, scheme for me to produce and, reach my potential. And that's kind of where I went with Pitt. Very aggressive defense. More so attacking rather than reacting. So it makes you a lot of opportunities.
And that's your game. That's your game.
Like
it's been your game.
I just
it's been your game.
And it was just a great staff there. Like I said, I told you before, they got a lot of Youngstown ties there.
Okay,
Most definitely. And that, of course, I'm going to feel at home with that.
Absolutely.
He know where I come from. He know what I, stand for and all of that. So that kind of what led me towards Pitt. And it ended up being a great decision. Good,
man. Well, listen, I remember because I'm friends with you and your mom on social media from your time in high school. And I remember when you committed, she was happy as I don't know what. Sure. She was happy as I don't know what. Well, that's good stuff. So, talk to us about that last year. I know you ended up getting hurt again, but, how did it end up playing out for you? And then, how do you feel about your career overall?
So as far as the last year, I wouldn't make a different decision. I would have did it again. Like I said, I had a great time there. You got to think I go from 235 to now I'm 250 with their resources, solid. I'm in a good defense. I'm playing at a high level. Unfortunately, I couldn't finish what I started to do. What was it? Second quarter of our Louisville game, so it's like our fourth game. And this probably was my best game of the season so far. Where I had a sack, almost caught a pick, TFL, and it's all in the first half. Yep. And then on one play, I tried to go inside. Boom, high ankle sprain to the same foot that I hurt the year before. So then I'm thinking like it's not going to take as long to get right.
That high ankle sprain, man.
Yeah, it was very tough. Like that kind of put me in. At that time, I was kind of down as time went on, and I seen it wasn't getting better. And it was kind of complications with the injury I had the year before. I had a sesamoid stress fracture all to the same foot. So now I walk different. So now I'm putting pressure on that same spot consistently. But like I said, though, I wouldn't have it no other way. Like them first 4 games that we was playing, I was having a great time. Managed to work hard enough to get the starting job at the end of camp, stuff like that. And like I said, it was going well. I got to play with some dogs. You know, it was different at Pitt. Like I tell people, like the difference between playing in the ACC and the schools that I was at, everybody's competitive, and I loved it. You had no choice but to want to get better.
Absolutely.
I'm talking Saturdays where it's our day off. It looked like we having a whole scheduled practice in there because everybody in there getting in extra work. So I enjoyed it. But then as far as my entire career, I still wouldn't redo my entire career, honestly. Like, yeah, I wish I kind of would have been more firm when they tried to ask me to switch to Sam, but I didn't know no better. I was just thinking like, okay, I can show versatility. Right. I didn't understand like the importance of getting reps.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
That's another thing that translates to life too, reps. But I didn't understand
that's what the belly left leadership is about. Reps.
But I didn't understand that, so that would be the only thing that I would change. But at the end of the day, like I said, everything happened for a reason. I can't say anything on God's timing, and then when something don't go my way, it's not God's timing. Or so that's kind of how I view that. I learned so many lessons from my down moments, from the high moments and stuff like that. So I really wasn't having no other way. I gave it all I got. I moved all the way out to Utah for this.
Yeah, you know did. You did.
It was a great career, man. Most definitely.
All right. Well, let's talk about them. Let's talk about that rep. My next question was, what advice do you have for the scholars coming behind you or the young people coming behind you? But expound on that whole idea of reps, because you said it translates to life. What about it translates to life for you?
For me, it's just like, just gaining skill or getting better at anything that you do. You're going to have to rep it out. And then if you think about people, anything that they're good at, they've done it over and over and over again. Anybody. So that's, like I said, anybody and whatever they're good at, respective to their life, is just something that they did over and over and over again. So for me, reps is a big thing for me right now. Going into this new life, getting into new things in a professional level, I'm going to have to get reps. But that's what football taught me. It's a process to everything. The more reps I get, the better I'm going to get at it, the more it's going to flow. Just like if I'm editing videos, I had an editing video class. I started off, I got to keep going back and forth to the instructions. But then the more reps I got at it, the more I was able to get it going. I was able to put everything together, just like anything else. So to young scholars, I would definitely say, like, don't go into nothing thinking you're going to get it right away, because you're not, unless you're an anomaly. But you can't let that discourage you. Just keep working at it. And before you know it, if I tell you, if you go 2 months straight doing something, don't try to look at the progress right away, but just know you're going to be better than you was when you first started. That's all you really need to know. And then if you keep going, of course the sky's the limit. And like I said, you combine reps with sacrifice, and then lock in with a tunnel vision. It ain't really nothing that you're not going to be able to do at all. You just got to have a passion for it. You got to want to do it and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the only way you're going to get good at something is doing it over and over and over again.
Belly left. So we're going to end. I always end the show with allowing the guests, and you kind of already did. You kind of have the drop mic moment already, but I want you to talk to the people of Youngstown, not just the young people, but everybody in Youngstown. Talk to them about just life, leadership, and really that message you want to leave to the city of Youngstown about anything. It's your time.
Leadership is everything, especially for our youth. I feel like, honestly, to drive this city, the youth is going to have to get a lot of attention paid too. And it's all possible. It's just a matter of, like, who's in the youth ear. And, even if you are the youth watching this, just lock in and, do what you got to do. At the end of the day, like I just said, anything can be done that you want to do. And me getting to experience different places, we have plenty of talent here, like plenty. And there's no reason why we shouldn't thrive as a city. It's just all about what's in the youth face, them having somebody to lean on, them having somebody that's going to make sure they do what they need to do. Sometimes as young people, and even still me in my 20s, we don't have the right mindset about certain things or making decisions, but it's always somebody who's been in our shoes before. So that's another thing too for the youth. Don't ever think like you too big to listen to nobody. You got to listen to somebody because they've been there before. And, it definitely seemed like it's nagging. I've been there. You know what I'm saying? Trust, I've been there.
Yeah.
Multiple times. I went from getting kicked out of schools to turning my life around. And I had to understand that, like, these people trying to help me, they're telling me this for a reason. And it's all a bigger picture. It's so much more. So, yeah, that's kind of really all I got for real. Like, we just got to really drive the youth. And even at my age and stuff like that, like, just lock in, have a purpose with what you want to do. Youth, don't ever be a follower. be yourself. People gonna love you for who you are, not for who you're trying to be because somebody else is trying to be that.
Man, listen. As a former principal, as a superintendent, this is what I do it for, man. To have moments like this, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I've been in 3 different states doing this. I got some young people that are playing, you know, in the NFL. Got doctors and lawyers that I can call, and you know, most of the time they remember me. And so I'm thankful to have the opportunity to have been a small part of Blaine's life, because I was really only with him for a year, but I mean, he impacted my leadership, and what we were trying to do is turn East High School around. But I'm so proud of the man that he has become, and I know he's going to continue to do great things. And like I told them standing in that auditorium in 2018, there'll always be alumni of Youngstown City Schools, so they'll always have a home here, and we're going to be proud of them. And you heard him talk about how proud he is to come from Youngstown. So, Blaine, thank you for being here, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for being the man that you are. And let's stay in touch. Youngstown, this is what you've produced. So let's keep doing it. So until next time, keep running it until they stop it.